Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, and if this is your first time here, hello, welcome. This is Essential Patience and I Am Patience. I hope you're doing well today because we are going to have a conversation that I've been meaning to have for a while, which is how hair care is keeping you poor. And I really think this conversation is much needed with the trends that are going on in hair care, as well as just where the world is moving when it comes to self-care, beauty, and the exploitation of people to buy these products, social media promoting these products to people instead of focusing on savings and how they can rather make better financial decisions. A lot of people are sinking a ton of money into beauty products, one aspect of which is hair care. So let's get straight into this topic. So hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, and if this is your first time here, hello, welcome. This is Essential Patience and I Am Patience, and on this channel we have conversations about society's impacts on our lives and our finances and how we can take back that power to make more intentional decisions about our lives and our finances. So if that sounds good to you, be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and ring the notification bell so you do not miss out on any of my future videos. Let's delve straight into this topic of how hair care is keeping you poor. Hair has long been a symbol of beauty, identity, and social status, going all the way back several centuries. And throughout history, people have spent a considerable amount of time and effort and money on maintaining and enhancing their hair. However, the financial burden of hair care is often overlooked, especially for women and marginalized groups such as Black women who are facing a unique challenge of the cost. So in this video, we're going to be exploring the historical significance of hair because it's very important and it has long been very important. So it's not just going to be like, oh, just shave your hair and that's it, and thinking that you can almost escape the social stigmas that come along with that as well. So there is a cultural significance no matter what culture you actually come from and live in. We'll talk about the perception of hair around the world so that we can get a worldwide view. We're stuck in our bubble and we think this way, people around us think this way, so that's how everybody else thinks, and that's not true. And we're going to delve into the impact of social media. I try to do this in all of my videos because that is one of the ways people easily get influenced in today's time, especially when billions of people are on social media and engage with the content daily. And then the beauty standard, and then the gap in the expectations of what people expect from men in hair care and women in hair care, and especially the financial implication when we fall for this trap that can keep us sinking tons of money into hair care. I'm also going to have a subset where I'm going to talk specifically about Black women and hair and how society's view on our hair has impacted the way we look at our hair and the way we take care of our hair, as well as offering suggestions not to succumb to sinking so much money into hair care and celebrity endorsed hair care. When I think of hair, I think of the many montages of makeovers in the movies when you see girls who are being transformed from what is like not great looking to getting a whole makeover and being one of the hot girls. And one that comes to mind immediately is the Princess Diaries. That was my movie, okay? I still love the Princess Diaries. But in the movie, we can see that already beautiful Princess Mia of Genovia is transformed from a curly-headed peasant who is unfit to be a princess into what an actual princess should be.
This, and give you
a princess.
And we've seen many others in movies such as Mean Girls, She's All That, Miss Congeniality, Clueless, and Pretty Woman, and all the way from childhood in cartoons like Cinderella. A 2021 Vogue issue on this topic said, "Is there a better, classier Hollywood trope than a makeover montage? Comedians and rom-coms love to take a leading star and give them a splashy new look. Sometimes when they desperately need it, other times when they seriously don't. But no matter what end results they serve us, you cannot deny it is highly entertaining to see somebody go from the ugly duckling, whatever the movie defines as that, into a beautiful swan." And a big part of this makeover is the hair. Nobody goes through a makeover and it comes out with the same hair. That would be very disappointing, wouldn't it be? At least that's what we're being told. And oftentimes prior to the makeover, this character will have curly hair, sometimes frizzy, seen as uncontrollable hair that could not possibly be attractive. And then after the makeover, she comes out with silky smooth hair that's just ready to be blown in the wind. And I'm thinking directly of that Miss Congeniality scene when she walks out with her silky smooth straight hair. But to truly understand the significance of hair in our society and media, we need to take a look back, and then we can look at the present and where we go from here. Hair has held significant cultural and societal importance across different societies throughout history. In ancient Egypt, elaborate hairstyles and wigs were symbols of status and wealth. And in medieval Europe, long flowy hair was a sign of femininity, beauty, and while in some Native American cultures, long hair represented a connection with the spiritual world. And globally, hair is seen as an extension of your identity. In India, hair rituals are integral parts of religious ceremonies, while in Japan, traditional geishas hairstyle symbolizes discipline and cultural heritage. African cultures have also long celebrated hair with intricate braiding and styling practices to convey social status, age, and your marital status. So we can see that it is not just hair. And this is why when you're talking about changes in people's lives, you have to be careful with how you approach it. Just because something is not important to you does not mean somebody can just forego the practices they've known their entire life. And that's another reason why this conversation is so important. Let's just take away the idea that it is just hair and it's not important and you can just style it whatever way that you want. But it's really important that we understand what it means to us and how it's affecting our budgets. So we're going to move on to talking about hair in media and how it's related to the beauty standard and what it means for the rest of us. Media has long shaped our views on beauty and the beauty standards, especially in the 20th and the 21st century when televisions became widely available and we could just see beautiful people on television because, that's how most of it, especially if you're a woman, that's one of the ways that you could make it. It has really shaped the way we think about beauty. And I have a video where I talk about beauty is pain and in how in the modern world, beauty has become such a homogeneous look rather than the individual and culturally significant looks that we used to see in the past. Now it has become like almost one standard or a very few variety of the same standard. Hollywood films, televisions, and fashion magazines have consistently promoted certain hairstyles and hair types as the epitome of beauty. For example, the glamorous waves of the 1940s film stars and the silky straight hair popularized in the 1960s, the voluminous curls in the 1980s. If you watch The Breakfast Club, Pretty Woman, and Julia Roberts' heydays, you can see that like a lot of her movies was all about her beautiful curly hair. That was what was seen as the beauty standards in that decade. But it all influenced what we saw as the beauty standard in our real world because curls were very popular in the 80s and early 90s, largely thanks to media. So I read this article called The Perfect Hair Problems, Women in Visual Media, and it said that one of my biggest pet peeves in visual media is what I tend to think of the perfect hair problems. And this happens when female characters in physically attractive professions end up consistently sporting long, perfectly coiffed locks that are never tied back and certainly never cut. Their hair is never messy because it's never allowed to be practical or, God forbid, ignored altogether. Whether they are cops or mercenaries or superheroes, their unbound manes swishing freely as they run into battle. Their hair is always a decorative thing because the people making the show or the film in question are always conscious of the woman's beauty. They know they're telling a story and so use their license to render her as prettily perfect in difficult situations are realistically such women would seldom be. We're most of us suckers for beauty after all, and in the end we know it's pretend, so why does it really matter? For a lot of visual media, no matter what type of work the woman is doing, her hair is perfect, not messy, unless that's supposed to be a character trope. But if she's supposed to be the main character and the main attraction, oftentimes it is so unrealistic how perfect her hair is. I even remember that scene in the Princess Diaries where Mia takes off her hair and it's perfect and flowy, and I'm just thinking of the fact that the hair was done several days ago, and had she washed it, that hair would not have been perfectly made in the morning had she not had somebody to do it for her. So it is very obvious that the day they filmed that scene, somebody else had to come in and do her hair. Her hair could not have been done once and stayed perfect the entire movie if she didn't want it so much. The moment she washed it, unless her hair was chemically pressed, which it could have been pressed to make it straight, even when she washes it, she's still gonna need to flat iron it. And from what I hear, a lot of white people wash their hair several times a week. She would have had to be flat ironing her hair several times a week to keep it that perfectly silky look. And in recent years, social social media platforms such as Instagram and TikTok have amplified these beauty standards and often promoting unrealistic and expensive hair care routines. Celebrities and influencers regularly showcase their hair care products and routines, setting trends that many people feel pressure to follow, especially with all these celebrity hair cares have bombarded us in recent years. If you want to delve more into this conversation, my video Beauty is Pain, Becoming Frankenstein's Monster is on my YouTube channel. I filmed this a few months ago, but it's still very relevant. Now let's move to the next section, which is the gap in gender perception when it comes to hair care. Boys will be boys, so definitely the standard held for boys and men versus girls and women are very different when it comes to hair care. Because for men, hair care is seen as a secondary, almost not even thought of aspect of who they are and their identity. And most guys typically keep their hair short. They don't need several step hair care routine. Okay? When they pop that hair and show the shower gel, like that's it. They use it for their whole body and it's good. And we see that's perfectly normal. But when it comes to women, it is far more demanding. From young ages, girls are taught that their hair is a crucial part of their beauty and femininity. And this leads to a lifelong focus on maintaining and styling their hair so that they will not be seen as unkept. And that's not to minimize some of the struggles men have with hair, especially when it comes to balding. And we can see that society is promoting more and more that men find ways to upkeep their hair. But they don't have to if they don't want to. Like you see people who have bald head and there's this whole thing about the beautiful bald-headed men. So society still finds a way to make space for those men and to appreciate them. And they get to become celebrities with their bald head and it becomes a feature of them that is seen as beautiful and sexy. But that same grace is not extended to women. But that is still not to say that some men are now falling into the trap of sinking so much money into preventative hair care, getting toupees, or even going as far as to get like a hair transplant. According to Market Worth research, the worldwide men's hair loss prevention and growth products market would generate a CAGR of 5.11% during the assessment period. Further, the same market is estimated to reach over $1.7 billion by 2027. Nowadays, a major concern for men across the world is their hair loss problem. Hair loss problems and baldness among men begins with their age. And fun fact, men are actually dominating the hair transplant market, but we'll talk more about that later. So they do have their own struggles that I don't want to minimize. But overall, society is more willing to accept a bald man, especially when it comes to age. But as women age, we don't get that same grace. Let's talk about the numbers. What are some statistics when it comes to hair care for women? So there was a study done in 2022 by Statistica, and it concluded that the average woman spends approximately $55,000 in her lifetime on hair care alone. Hair care alone. This includes haircuts, coloring, treatments, and products. And this figure does not account for any additional expenses such as wigs, extensions, and hair loss treatments, which can significantly increase costs. And this breaks down to just under $1,000 per year, or approximately $80 per month. And depending on what state you live in, you could be spending more on less. So here's some states with the highest cost of hair care when it comes to monthly basis. California averages about $150 per month. Florida is $130. Texas is $120. Ohio is $110, and New York is $100 per month. But maintaining your hair according to society's expectations and the beauty standard can be very expensive. But don't worry, Big Hair Care has all the products and treatments that you need to make sure your hair is long and luscious and flowy and just luxurious looking. So here are some staples that many women have in their hair care routine. The first one is actually a pair, shampoo and conditioner, because they kind of go together. You shampoo your hair, condition your hair. In my opinion, shampoo is very important. I often tend to use deep conditioners, which are a type of conditioner, but certainly with shampooing, making sure your scalp is clean and healthy is very essential. But getting a shampoo can range from $5 for like drugstore products upwards of $50 for celebrity brands and other top luxury brands. Personally, I tend to stay between the $5 and $12 for my shampoo. I am trying to spend slightly more on it, but I don't see myself paying more than $20 for shampoo. And I use the Aussie Deep Conditioner. It's less than $10 for a big 16-ounce container. The next thing is hair oils and serums. I do have quite a bit of hair oils, not too many. I think about 4 different kinds of hair oils. Jojoba oil, shea butter, but it can become oil. Hot 6 oils. Actually, it might just be 3. So not too many. But society promotes they have growth oils, which I do not fall for. before, hair growth oils, in my opinion, are, you know, I'll keep my opinions to myself on that one. Hair oils can cost you anywhere from $10 to upwards of $100. And I've seen $100 hair oils that are like this big because they're this magical hair growth oil that's supposed to just make you Rapunzel, I guess. Another one is heat protectants, and these can range $10 upwards of like $50. But here's the thing, if you don't use a lot of heat on your hair, then you wouldn't need it. I personally have some heat protectant, but because I only use heat like once a year on my own, I don't need it as much. And this year I'm actually trying to stay away from heat. That's another story for another video. And the last but absolutely not the least is styling tools. These styling tools can be as cheap as like $20, which is how much I paid for my blow dryer, upwards of $500, which if you buy the Dyson or the Rev Air, I'm pretty sure they're like $300 to $500 for those hair dryers. And these are for what you do at home. When you visit salons, you don't bring your own stuff and they still charge you off the roof. When you're getting your hair trimmed or haircuts, coloring, any type of treatments, it adds to this cost. A single haircut can range from $30 upwards of $100, while coloring and highlights can range anywhere from $70 to $200 per session. And then you have wigs, weaves, extensions, and braiding sessions, which can run you hundreds of dollars and even thousands of dollars per session. And in more extreme cases such as hair loss, people often seek treatments. So let's delve a little bit into these treatments and how much they cost. So hair transplant surgery, what is that? So it is an elective surgery, a type of surgery that you can have where you can fill in different spots in your head where hair is not growing or you're losing hair in. So let's say you're balding at the front of your hair or you just have thin hair and you want to do a transplant surgery, then they will take hairs from different places and then put it right there. They will operate on the part that is losing hair to stimulate hair growth. And I guess one good thing about it is that this is meant to be permanent and hopefully will last for several years. But did you know that hair transplant surgeries have been around since the 1950s, and it is not one size fits all. So different surgeons will provide different services, but none of those are cheap. So you can expect to spend anywhere from $4,000 on the low end to upwards of $15,000, and none of that is covered by insurance because it is a cosmetic procedure. According to research by the American Academy of Dermatology, more than 40% of women globally have started facing hair loss issues by the age of 40 due to hormonal imbalances and other reasons. Increasing stress levels because of the ever-changing lifestyle is one of the major factors responsible for hair loss, increasing the demand for hair loss treatment products across the globe. The growing popularity of brands that aim to assert natural hair growth and increasing consumer inclination towards origin-specific ingredients with approval from the US FDA and dermatology approved products. So it's not just a men's issue when it comes to hair loss. It is a problem facing both men and women. And another study conducted by Precedence Research found that the global hair transplant market size is valued at $6.25 billion as of 2023, and it is expected to surpass $42.52 billion by 2033. That is a huge increase. And here's some key takeaways I got from that study. Europe dominated that market with the largest market share of 34% as of 2023. And when it comes to technology, 62% of the market share by 2023 was dominated by the FUE, which stands for follicular unit extraction. That's a mouthful, but it's FUE. And when it comes to how people are getting these treatments, clinics were one of the most popular ones, which dominated 67% of the market share in the same year. Now we're going to move on to black hair care and the gap in the market. Have you ever watched Good Hair, the documentary? I personally think it's a must watch.
What's your definition of good hair?
Something that looks relaxed and nice.
If your hair is relaxed, white people are relaxed. Your hair is nappy, they're not happy.
I remember I first watched it when I was younger. I understood some of it. Watched it more recently. So much clicked. And even though it had been over a decade since the release of the documentary, it was still very relevant. We think we've come far, but in my opinion, not even far enough. That documentary explored the challenges when it comes to black hair care, the perception and the products used to maintain it. The documentary also explored many facets of black hair, including the multi-billion-dollar industries that benefit, and this includes the wig and weave industries, braiders, relaxers, perms, hair products, salons, and that's not even all of it. Black women face a unique challenge because of our natural hair textures, which, by the way, this is not my natural everyday hair texture. There's actually been heat applied. I do have natural hair, it's not relaxed, but there is a large group of black women who do have relaxed hair. So when you relax your hair, it comes with other specialized products, as well as women who primarily wear wigs, black women who primarily wear their hair in braids, and then the natural hair girlies like myself and the products that are available available to us and how expensive those products are. We don't get to go to Walmart and purchase that $5 natural hair product. Oftentimes, you're looking at well over $10 for the exact same shampoo just because it's targeted towards black hair care, or a deep conditioner for $30 where you're getting like 8 ounces and use it like 4 to 10 times and it's gone. And that just increases how much black women have to spend on hair care versus other races of women, especially if they maintain their natural hair or not relaxed. But even if they are relaxed, they have to keep going back, because when you relax your hair, like right now, your hair is gonna grow. So you have to go back every few months to get your roots relaxed as well. So it's a continuous cycle of spending money. It is common knowledge that black hair has never been seen as the standard when it comes to beauty or the perfect hair. And I'm not just speaking about America, I'm talking about all over the world, including places in Africa as well. According to the National Institute of Hair Health, talking about the history of black hair in the Americas, slaves were forced to shave their hair, not only by issues related to lice contracted from cramped, filthy, inhumane quarters of the slave ships, but also to strip them of their cultural identity and tribal heritage associated with hairstyles. After shaving the bad hair, black men and women were often forced to wear headscarves to hide their hair from the sight of slave owners. In the early 1700s, Louisiana Creole women, and even in the 1700s, freed black women in Louisiana, the law was passed, the Tignon law, to enforce that they covered their hair while they were in public. So they could not show their natural hair. Can you imagine how dehumanizing it is that everybody else gets to show their hair, but for you, for some reason, by law, you cannot even go out with your own natural God-given hair. Hair discrimination is not a thing of the past. It is still very much in the present. And in California, back in 2019, when they enacted the Crown Act, the purpose of it was creating a respectful and open world for natural hair. A lot of people still had discourse about it. So is this even necessary? But yes, it was, because that act was not only several years, decades, and centuries in the making, but we still see stories consistently coming out of black hair being discriminated against. But how much can one person really take? Centuries of discrimination has led a lot of black women to essentially give in to assimilating. And in the early 1900s, this became really possible for a lot of black women when many hair straightening techniques became widely available. And soon you'll be shocked to see a black woman who wore her hair in a natural state. In 1909, Garrett Augustus Morgan invented what is known to be the very first type of relaxer, also nicknamed the creamy crack. In case you don't know, that's a relaxer, the creamy crack, because it's creamy and once you get on it, hard to get off. And since then, many other products have come out promising black women, if you put this in your kinks and coils and curls, it will straighten it out to give you the perfect flowy silky hair. And this was not just a promise they made to African American women, but black women across the globe, and it spread like wildfire. It is estimated that approximately 90% of black women have had a relaxer at least once, or perm, whatever you call it. And I am one of those people. Even though I had a perm only one time in my entire life, and it only lasted for about a month before I had to go shave my hair, I am part of it. I was a child. It was not a decision that I made for myself, but that was part of girlhood to get it. And I actually did want it. I saw girls who got to perm their hair and have hair in general, and it was seen as so beautiful. You don't know, I lived in Ghana for the first 11, almost 12 years of my life. And when you go to public schools in Ghana, you cannot have hair. Even as a girl, you have to shave it down. When I came to America, I kept my hair like that for a long while. I actually have a photo, let me show you. So this was a haircut I kept when I was in America, but when I was in Ghana, it was even shorter than this. Like, it was basically close to bald. And because of that, the girls who had hair were often seen as the pretty girls, and you saw that you wished you could have hair. And looking back, I'm so glad that was my only experience with the creamy crack. I never went back. I started growing out my hair back in summer of 2018, and I've kept it natural ever since. And I'm so glad of the knowledge I've learned. And that's part of the reasons why I even make videos such as this, to share that encouragement that your natural hair is beautiful, that you can appreciate your natural hair. And for me, in the almost 7 years that I was growing out my hair, except for a few months ago when I had box braids, I always wore my natural hair by itself in whatever styles I thought complimented me best. I've really learned to appreciate it and not falling for whatever standards that society tells me is best. But that one time of getting my hair permed was actually enough to expose me to several health implications. A study by a PhD doctor, Dr. Alexandra White, who is the head of the NIEHS Environment and Cancer Epidemiology Group, explains that we estimate that 1.64% of women who never use hair straighteners will go on to develop uterine cancer by the age of 70. But for frequent hair relaxer users, this goes up to 4.05%. And that may seem like a tiny percentage, but your chances have gone up more than 100% had you not used hair straighteners. But that's as far as we're going to go into the relaxers for today. Just know that if you consistently use it, it can be damaging not just to your hair, but to your body. But even if you get relaxers, which some people do it at home, most people will go to the salon to get it done for safety purposes because it can be very damaging to your hair. A lot of black men also frequently get their hair braided. I got boho braids one time, which is quite recent. I loved it. But I paid $70 because I was in Ghana, and that $70 was inclusive of hair wash, the hair, and tips. But a lot of black women in America are paying anywhere from $150 upwards of $500. I've even seen a quote of over $1,000 to get box braids. And mind you, some of the places that you're even paying $300 for, they want you to come with your hair washed, blow dried, prepped, and everything, and all they're doing is braiding. It's a struggle out here to be a girl who loves braids. In 2023, an article on LinkedIn was discussing how much black men spend on hair care. Black consumers outspend other ethnic groups, allocating 9 times more on hair care products, with an expected value of $3.1 billion in 2023 and a projected market worth of $4.6 billion by 2032. It is anticipated to experience a compound annual growth rate of 4.3%. Even though black women make up such a small percentage of America, we are literally outspending other races when it comes to hair care. But I will end this section with the good news that relaxers are on the decline, meaning that a lot of black women are embracing their natural hair. And I'm so happy of the world that we are building that allows black women to embrace it and to live freely. And more importantly, young black girls to grow up and never experience having any type of relaxer or perm ever in their hair. And that is something that I plan to instill in my children when I have daughters one day. Your hair is beautiful. God did not make a mistake. Under my watch at least, they would never have a relaxer. Now when they're grown and they can do whatever they want, they can choose to do what they want. But as for me and my household, we're going to be relaxer free. So let's move on to the next section, which is how hair care is actually keeping you poor. The significant financial burden of hair care is often underestimated. A lot of people are not keeping track of how much they're actually spending on their hair care. So of course, they would not know an exact amount if you ask them. The cumulative cost of regular salon visits, purchasing products, and following trends can lead to financial strain, especially when influenced by social media and celebrity endorsements. This pressure to conform to beauty standards often results in spending beyond one's means, and that's contributing to debt and financial instability. And now there's the added pressure of celebrity brands. Because of the parasocial relationship that is forming way too often in today's society, celebrities went from dropping perfumes to skincare products, and now hair care products is all the rage. Now, there are some that I think are more authentic. Celebrities such as Taraji P. Henson, who has her brand TPH, patterned by Tracy Ellis Ross, For You by Tia Mowry, Fenty Hair, and Sacred by Beyonce. Some of these I personally think are more authentic than others. You decide. Let me know in the comment section which celebrity brands you actually think those out of passion versus cash grabs. But these are just a few of the many celebrities who have even dropped hair care. And I know even less than a year ago, Blake Lively dropped her hair care, which were called Blake Brown. And I know it had like kind of terrible reviews. I was never the target audience. Another aspect of these celebrity brands is that often they are priced at a higher price point versus drugstore products that might be just as good, if not better. Let's take, for example, Maya Organics, which is considered one of the more expensive natural hair products that are non-celebrity brand. Their rosemary mint shampoo run you about $10 for 12 ounces. And now compare that to Sacred, Beyonce's brand, where she's charging $30 for her shampoo for 8 ounces. How long is 8 ounces gonna last any natural hair girly? I would probably go through 8 ounces in 6 washes or less. Definitely not lasting me till 10. And social media marketing by celebrities and influencers often lead many people to buying products as they are released, even when they already have products at home that are just as good, and this leads them to becoming product junkies. And being a product junkie is expensive. The cost adds up quickly. So we've talked about the problems, histories, and so much more. Let's talk about some solutions. How can you save on hair care? How can you indulge responsibly? Because I still like to take care of my hair and make sure it is healthy and looking beautiful. So here's some things that I do to keep my costs very low, and you can do as well. The first one is to set a budget. Always have a budget for hair care. Don't just buy as it comes. Set a budget for the year. How much do you want to spend on your hair? This is for products, salon visits, and any treatments that you want to do to your hair. What is the maximum you want to spend? Typically, each year I'm spending less than $500 on my hair for products, salon visits, and everything else. The next thing you want to do is DIY hair care. I'm not talking about going there and making your own hair products. If you watched my rise and fall of natural hair movements, you know that I am not into that. But what I am into is actually doing my own hair. When it comes to blow drying my hair, trimming my hair, and actually doing my day-to-day styles, I just like to do it on my own. Typically, I go to the salon 1 to 3 times per year, typically for my end of year silk press. Last year, I went 3 times with great regrets. First time was to get my hair blow dried, which was a big disaster. The second time was for the box braids, and the third time was for the silk press. Previous year, 2023, I only went once. And for this year, I set my budget to allow me to go once, maybe twice at most. Because every time I go to the salon, somebody is complaining or doing something to my hair. Let us not go down that rabbit hole. The next thing you want to do is simplify your hair care routine. You do not need a 10-step hair care routine. You just wash it, condition it or deep condition it, put in your moisturizer, seal it with the hair oil, and do whatever style that you want. You don't need so many different products. I keep a very simple hair routine, and that has helped me to grow my hair and retain length in the just over 6 years that I've been growing my hair. And people always ask me how that's possible. And just keep it something simple, something that's simple and sustainable. Not purchasing any new product that comes in, but rather using products that are actually beneficial for my hair. The next thing you want to do is avoid celebrity products just to try it or just to support them because you're a fan. You can buy it if you're actually looking for the type of product that they release and if it is a good product. I've heard good things about Taraji P. Henson's hair care brand, as well as Tracy Airless Ross. I think that's geared more towards mixed-race people. And then For You by Tia Mowry, that's also good for like biracials. But you want to make sure that you're actually using hair products that are good for you. I remember when I first started growing my hair, maybe the first year, so I had really short hair, I was given a product by the hair brand Mixed Chicks, and I used it and it was decent. And at that time my hair didn't have too much texture because it hadn't grown out and like really shrinking. But I remember thinking, this is not for me, this is not geared towards me. Think the same about hair care products that you want to try. Is it actually for you? Is it even possible that it will work for you? Possibly not. And that's why I said that Blake Brown by Blake Lively, not even the target audience, because I could not imagine using the same hair care products as she is. The next thing you can do is buy in bulk. I buy in bulk. So if you didn't watch my revealing my hair care products video, you will see that I had a lot of the same products. And that's because buying in bulk saves me so much money. So if I'm buying a conditioner in this pack of 3 and I'm saving $5, I buy the whole pack. And this is the deep conditioner I've been using for well over 3 years. Why not? I'm still gonna keep using it. And because of that, I save money. So you can definitely try buying in bulk, but make sure it's products that you use over and over again. The next thing you can do is buy products that you can use for multi-purpose. I do this for my shea butter. I use it for my skin and for my hair. And when it comes to my hair, I use it to seal in my moisture. But also you can just use your products to make concoctions and different products out of it. You don't have to buy a new product every time. You can just use what you already have. You can also shop on sales and stock up whenever a product goes on sale. This is almost like buying in bulk. You want to buy a single product and today's 50% off, but it's a brand that you actually like and you've already budgeted money to buy it over the years. I don't see why you can't buy it. I combine buying in bulk and shopping on sales to reduce my hair care costs. And the last but most important is to embrace your natural hair. I wish I was doing this video with my natural hair now. My natural hair texture, but it's still my natural hair and I'm still embracing it, just in a different form. But when you embrace your natural hair and what it wants to be, what it can be, and not trying to force it to be something that it doesn't want to be, you'll find it so much easier to actually maintain it and find the beauty in that maintenance. I gave up on wash and goes like the 2nd or 3rd year of doing my hair because I tried it like twice and it did not work. And I was like, I don't think my hair likes this. So instead, I moved on to mini braids and mini twists. And those are my go-to styles most of the year because I know my hair thrives in it. It's easy to maintain, it is simple, and it's beautiful. And if you are interested in my natural hair journey, a detailed video of my natural hair journey where I show you all of the products, hairstyles, every time I used heat, and yet how I was able to keep the cost very reasonable, check out my newest video, which I posted I think a few weeks ago on my hair growth journey in the past 6.5 years, and my plans for this year, and how I am able to aid in the thriving of my natural hair. And now let's bring this video to a conclusion. The cost of hair care is a significant financial burden, especially for women and marginalized groups such as Black women. From historical significance to modern day beauty standards, hair has always been a critical aspect of identity and self-expression. However, the financial implications of maintaining hair to meet societal expectation can be overwhelming. And by understanding the factors driving these costs and implementing strategies to save money, individuals can maintain their hair without compromising their financial well-being. Embracing natural hair and resisting the pressure of society can contribute to a healthier budget and a more positive relationship with your hair. So with that, I'm bringing this video to an end. Thank you all so much. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and ring the notification bell so you do not miss out on any of my future videos. Let me know in the comment section, what are your thoughts on the rising cost of hair care? Are you a product junkie? Be honest, this is a safe space. And what are you doing to ensure that hair care is not eating up your money? I look forward to reading your comments. Thank you all again, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.